Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to you. Happy Monday. I think it's Monday today. I never know what day Monday is on. I know it's on Monday, but it always seems more Monday than Monday. But welcome, welcome. Give everybody a chance to jump in here. Hopefully you guys all are getting the notifications. Let's see, Baptized by Glitter. Oh my gosh, I love that name. That is fantastic. But welcome, Janica. Is it Bodor? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Mrs. Nosbig, licensed nail tech, Zaneta, Linda. Oh my goodness, you guys, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you all here today. Bodor, let's see, Al-Hadi, you said, yeah, I miss you. Have I met you before? Let me know where I should know you from. I hope I'm remembering correctly. But welcome everybody. We're going to get started in just a second here. I'm just getting a couple of nails ready to go. And we're going to go through some basic application skills. And then we're going to obviously throw in some glitter because, you know, you guys, I always have to do glitter. But we're going to do some kind of back to the basics today. Just getting our nails ready to go here. And you guys, if you didn't check on our Discord server today, I'm going to show you what all we're going to be using. But if you'd like to see what we're going to be doing beforehand, you can always jump into our Discord server, and we put a little announcement in there as to what we're going to be working on and what products we're going to be using, so that you guys can always gather up your products and work along with me. So welcome in everybody. Let's see here. Who else do we have here? Oh my gosh, you guys, lots of regulars here. It's so exciting to see all of these familiar names. Let's see, what are you from Saudi Arabia? Big followers. Well, welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Love to hear all of the repeat offenders here today. So, all right, so let's get started with, let me show you guys what we're going to be working with today. I'm going to grab all of my colors and everything. All right, so we're going to start out with our cover Flamingo. We're going to be learning some basics with that. And then after we kind of get some of the basics down, then I'm going to show you our speed clear and then a couple of glitter mixes here today. And we've got Shimmering Sand is kind of that, kind of a soft gold, I'm going to say. And then we've also got Do Not Disappoint, which is kind of our rosy gold, Numero Uno, and Search Mode, which are our iridescents that we're going to be using today. So if you guys are working along with us, grab those colors, grab those glitters, and we will go ahead and get started. So I've got my nails ready to go here. Let me come in here, a little bit better view for you guys there. And we are going to start just by pushing back our cuticles. Now, when you're pushing back cuticles, it shouldn't take a whole long time, okay? Just a couple of quick seconds on each nail. Okay, when you guys are working on your real live clients, it still shouldn't take a whole lot of time, okay? That's really all that you need to do. I know a lot of times I see people and they try to push that cuticle back, and then they're trying to get in there and just get everything cleaned up, and they try to do all of that work with their cuticle pusher. You guys, all we're trying to really do at this point, push back that, what's called the eponychium, push back that eponychium, and that's going to kind of expose a little bit of that dry, flaky cuticle. That dry, flaky cuticle is what we're really going to be trying to clean off. And we're not going to do that with our cuticle pusher. We're actually going to do that with our electric file. So I'm going to grab my electric file here. And right now I've got a carbide bit in there. When you're working over a natural nail, you do not want to be using that carbide bit. Carbide is going to be way too aggressive for working on a natural nail. Basically a carbide, and let me come in a little closer so you guys can see exactly what that looks like. So a carbide bit is really designed to shave product off of the nail rather than to smooth it down. So if we were to use this carbide bit on a natural nail, that would take down way too much of that nail and it would cause some damage to it, okay? So make sure you're not using a carbide on the natural nail. What we are going to be using is our Mandrel and sanding band. Now I'm going to take this sanding band off. This one's old, so I'm going to take that one off, and I'm just using my magic wand, just like I was using to push back the cuticles. I'm just going to put that kind of right in the center and slide that sanding band right up there. You could use a toenail clipper and kind of clip that off, but this was just easier for me today. So what's underneath there is called the mandrel, and the mandrel itself doesn't actually do any filing. What we need to put on top of there is a sanding band. So let me grab a brand new sanding band. And we're just going to slide that right over the top, okay? And you guys, sanding bands are not disinfectable or sanitizable, so make sure you're changing those out after every client, okay? Even if you're working on yourself, they do kind of wear down. You can see this is a used one in my hand here, and then the new one is on my mandrel. You can see how it's worn down over use. So make sure, just because you're not sanitizing and disinfecting it, you should still change that out, either way. Now, we're going to use our mandrel and our sanding band on a lower speed, about 5,000 RPMs, and we're just going to come up around that cuticle area. Now, you guys, I want you to see the angle that I'm working at. Let me come out just a little bit. When I'm using this bit on the nail, I'm not angling up and using the edge. I don't want to be using this corner. I want to be using, actually, let me turn that off. I want to be using probably the top 2/3, I would say 1 to 2/3 of my bit, rather than just that little corner, okay? If you're angling up and using just that little corner, that's going to actually cut down into that natural nail. You want to make sure that you're not causing damage or cutting in. For that reason, we're going to angle that bit, instead of up like this, we're going to drop the angle down, so that bit is always going to be, like I said, about that 1/3 to 2/3 of the bit is going to be kind of gliding over that nail, okay? So make sure that you're keeping your angle correct, even around the cuticle area. Now, you guys, you're going to see I kind of turn that finger on the side. I'm going to come up around that cuticle area, and I want you to see this. So this is the angle that I'm working. If I turn that so you guys can see, it looks like I'm angling up and using that corner. I'm not. I'm still keeping that bit flat on the nail, but I've turned that finger around so that I can keep that flat on the nail. Again, a lot of times I think people tend to, they hold the nail here and then they come around like this and they use that corner all the way up around. Okay, so you guys, I know I'm talking about this quite a bit, but it really is important to keep that correct angle when you're working around that cuticle so that you aren't cutting into that natural nail. And you can see where I've actually filed on that nail. If I were filing with that edge, all you would see is kind of that line like that. When I have the proper angle of my bit, I'm going to file a little bit more of that surface of the nail. Okay, so I'm hoping that makes sense. But again, just for our prep, we're going to come up around that cuticle area, and then I'm just going to kind of feather my bit all the way down through the rest of that free edge, down through that whole nail surface. Okay, now as I'm working, you guys, you can see I'm kind of moving my bit quickly. If you're a beginner, I want you to slow down, because a lot of times when we're just starting to learn the E-file, we may not have that skill to do that kind of quick feathering kind of motion. So what I want you to do instead is just come from side, pick up your bit, across. So across, pick up your bit, across, pick up your bit. This is going to help you to kind of get into that motion, into kind of that technique. Then the better you get at this, the faster you're going to be able to move. You're still going to be coming across and picking up. You're not always going to be coming back and forth like this on the nail. You're going to come across and pick up. So you're just going to get faster and faster, and then you're going to be able to do that feathering technique. Okay, so again, let's do our second nail here. We'll go ahead and prep. We've already pushed back our cuticles on this one. Same thing, we're going to come up around that cuticle area, into that corner, and then we're going to do that feathering motion all the way through that nail. Now, if you get to the point where you've taken off that shine, but you still can see a little shine down on the sides here, I can take my bit and just kind of pull that straight down the side using the top part of the bit or using the base part of the bit on the right side here. So just a couple of easy techniques. Instead of trying to always come all the way down in here on the side, sometimes if you come all the way down here, you may end up catching that little corner, okay? And we don't want to catch that corner. So that's why it may be easier to turn and look down the barrel and then just pull that bit down the side here or down the side there to really touch up and make sure that you're getting that nail prepped all the way around, okay? We're going to take our manicure brush, we're going to dust off the nail, get all of that dust off there, all of the debris. We don't want any more dust on there, so the more we can clean off, the better. And then we're going to grab our swipe. And I'm going to put a little bit onto the top of my brush, just kind of pump that onto the brush. And we're going to use the swipe to cleanse this nail. Now, swipe is going to pull out any germs, any bacteria, any last tiny little bits of dust on that nail and get that nail really nice and clean. It's also going to help to kind of break down a little bit more of that surface oils that were on the nail. Okay, now after scrubbing this nail and cleansing that nail, it's going to look kind of wet, but as you let that dry, you're going to see these nails go back to kind of a chalky look. Okay, they're going to look chalky and dry. You want to make sure that you're waiting until they are nice and dry before you go on to your next step. So the next step is protein bond. And protein bond works kind of like a double-sided tape, so it's going to stick down to the natural nail, but then it's going to leave a sticky surface for our acrylic to adhere to. Now, if we don't wait until that nail is completely dry, that protein or that swipe is actually going to kind of break down the protein bond and not give you the best adhesion. So make sure that that nail goes all the way back to kind of that chalky dry look before you apply your protein bond. And we're going to go through, if you were doing a full set, you would go through and do all 10 nails and then come back and do a second coat. Okay, 2 coats when we're working on artificial nails, whether it's acrylics or hard gels, you're always going to do 2 coats to really make sure that you've got great adhesion. Okay, and I always start from the center of the nail and I work out to the side. This way my protein bond isn't going to flood up into my cuticle area or my sidewalls, and I'm not going to get that product onto the skin. Now, you guys, this is a bonder. It's not a primer, so it doesn't have any of the methacrylic acid that primers tend to have, but it is still a chemical. So you want to make sure that you're keeping any kind of chemicals off the skin. Okay. And Jackie in the chat is saying subscribe. Yes, you guys, great reminder. Make sure that you do subscribe to the channel so that you can continue to get all of this great free education. So great reminder, Jackie. Thank you. And if you subscribed, we appreciate you very much. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our form onto our nail. So I grabbed one of our, this is just kind of our standard form. I'm going to peel that off the back of the paper. We'll toss out that paper. And then you're going to take that little tab from the center, stick that on the back. That's going to give your form a little bit more durability. Okay, so you guys, I'm not going to be putting a tip on this nail. I am going to be building this nail out from scratch. So we are really completely customizing this nail to fit our client. So we're going to take our form, and you're going to see these 2 little silver tabs on the end of the form. We're going to pinch our form, kind of roll it together, and pinch those 2 little silver tabs together as evenly as you can get them. You want to make sure that they're coming together nice and even and that they're not lopsided, because if you do pinch them together lopsided, your nail's going to end up lopsided. And we're going to be doing kind of a longer almond shape. So I'm going to just pinch just the end of that form together, and that's going to start to give me our almond shape. I'm also going to open up the top perforation. That's going to give us a little bit more kind of flexibility with our client if they're moving their fingers or anything like that. Let me show you guys this actually. So if you put your form on a real person, okay, so you put your form on there, you get it all nice and secured down. If you pinch these 2 little tabs up here together, or if you can completely seal those down on there, if you guys take a look. Now this isn't the proper exact fit on my nail, but that's okay at this point. But I just want you guys to see, the reason that we don't pinch these together at the top is because a lot of times your clients are going to bend their fingers, and chances are she's probably going to be maybe trying to text on her phone or do something like that, and she's actually bent her finger. If you secure that whole form down all the way back up here around the knuckle, it doesn't give that form any mobility. So when she bends her knuckle and that's secured down, it's actually going to pop that form up from underneath that nail, and it's going to cause you challenges when you're actually trying to sculpt. So we always want to leave that upper part open. Okay, let me grab another form here. I'll show you one more time. So same thing again, we're going to take that little tab out of the center, place that on the back. We're going to pinch those 2 little silver tabs together nice and tight, nice and even and close together as we can get them. And then we're just going to pinch that end together because we're going to be doing more of an almond shaped nail. Okay, again, we're going to open up that top perforation. We're going to bring our nail back in here. And you guys, I'm going to show you this from the side angle because I want you to see exactly what I'm doing. So we're going to come in, actually, whoops, let me grab my form here. I'm just going to kind of open that up just a little bit more. I'm just kind of pinching that form just a little bit more to give me a little bit more space right in here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come at kind of a slight angle underneath that nail, put it right up to the underneath side of that nail. And then you're just going to lift up on the end until that form comes nice and straight out from that free edge. Okay, now the reason that we don't just take our form and just kind of shove it up underneath that nail is because, you guys, if you look underneath your nails, and you guys, as you're watching, you can kind of do this, but take a look underneath your nail. You have a little tiny bit of skin that basically connects your finger, so your fingertip, to that free edge. It's called your hyponychium. And this hyponychium is the seal that connects your skin to the nail. Okay, so make sure that you're not just shoving that form into that hyponychium, because that can be sore, it can be painful if you actually just jab that form down into that hyponychium. So that's why we do start with this. Again, let me show you here. We start with this at a slight downward tilt, and then we just lift up at the end to make sure that that form is coming straight out from the nail. Okay, let's take a look at this. So looking from the front, we want to make sure that our form is nice and straight. And you see there's a bold line right down the center of that form. That bold line, let me grab my little orange wood stick, and I'm going to adjust the camera so you're nice and straight on here. So that bold line should be in line with the knuckles all the way through the nail. So if we take a look here, I'm going to line up my orange wood stick all the way from the center of that top knuckle all the way down through the middle of the form. So if you take a look, it does look like it's pretty close to straight on. I think I just need to adjust just a tiny little bit, and I'm just actually going to pinch that form just a little bit more. But again, our form is nice and straight with that nail. Okay, always want to make sure that that form is looking straight with that whole entire finger, not just the nail, because sometimes the nail itself can be crooked, and if you put that form on in line with the nail, not the finger, you're going to sculpt a crooked nail. Okay, so make sure that you're keeping that nice and straight. All right, let's come back here. Now we're going to be doing a shorter almond. Well, not a little bit longer than what my nails are. So I'm actually going to pinch my form together so that we can create a little bit of a shorter almond. Okay. All right, I think we're going to be good at that length and shape. So let's grab our acrylic. And again, you guys, I'm using our Cover Flamingo. And I'm going to grab a few little table towels. You guys, the table towels that I've got on my station right here are fantastic. I absolutely love them. But when I'm working on picking up acrylic pearls, I actually cut those same table towels into smaller pieces, just so it's a little bit easier. And let's see, Summer's asking, what color polish does Karen have on her left thumb? You guys, on my left thumb, I have our concealer blush gel and just top coat. So no actual polish on that one. And you guys, if you want to see that design, I did this on a live stream, I believe last week. So you can check that out. Okay. All right. So again, we've got Cover Flamingo. I'm going to grab my Dappen dish here. And let's see what's in my Dappen dish. I've got a little bit of old monomer in there from my last application. I am going to use one of my table towels and soak that up, kind of cleaning off my Dappen dish here too. I always want to make sure that I'm starting with clean, fresh monomer. So if if you have any monomer left in your Dappen dish, make sure that you clean that out. And you guys, I'm not using my fingers to clean that out. I'm using that magic wand that we were using earlier to push back cuticles so that I don't touch that product and get that on my skin. Okay, guys, I feel like there's a lot of people getting allergic reactions these days because they're not using the proper safety and sanitation techniques. So make sure that you are keeping yourself safe and that you're not touching your product. Okay. All right, let's grab our monomer. And today we're going to be using our traditional monomer with the pink label, and same thing with our powders with the pink label. So make sure that you're not mixing and matching product lines. You're not mixing and matching our extreme low odor with our traditional. And we're just going to touch our brush to the top of the bottle. We're going to pour that straight down into our Dappen dish, and then we'll be good to go. All right, so you guys, just to kind of show you, I don't have, like, my dish here isn't completely full. my monomer basically comes to the top of my brush. If you come in nice and close, I'm not overdoing it with the monomer, okay? If you fill your liquid all the way to the top, you're never going to be able to properly wipe out your brush and pick up the correct size pearls, okay? So make sure that you only fill that to the top of the brush, and then also this way you're not going to get a lot of that liquid up onto the handle, where again you could possibly get that onto your skin, okay? So again, keeping ourselves safe here. So again, we've got our cover Flamingo, which is the color we're going to be using today. Now, before I actually get into our application, you guys, I want to kind of break down our brush for you a little bit so you can kind of see what pieces and parts of the brush I'm going to be using. And you guys, this is actually Greg's signature series brush. This is a size 12, and I think this is a perfect size even if you're a beginner. It's got a little bit of bulk to it, but you can pick up large pearls, you can pick up small pearls, however you want to, and I'm going to show you how in just a second here. But I want to make sure that you guys kind of understand how to work with this brush. So first things first, this is a size 12 and it's an oval. What makes this brush as an oval is that if you turn it kind of on the side, do you notice how it's crimped right here? There's a little crimp in it. It's not a round tube right here. It's kind of pressed in. So that makes our brush more of an oval shape. Now, you also want to keep in mind when you're working with your brush, you want to make sure that you're always wiping your brush flat with that oval. You're not wiping it on the sides, not on those edges, okay? So make sure that when you wipe your brush, you actually wipe it and then flip over and wipe the other side, but again, flat with that little crimp right in there, okay? Now, the other thing I want you guys to notice, a couple of other things here. If you look at, let me come in nice and close here. Look at the point of the brush. Do you see where the dark area is? So pretty much from right here to the point, that dark area is the area that you're going to be using to pick up your pearl. If you pick up your pearl and that product starts to get back up into this lighter area back here, you're going to start to end up clogging your brush. So make sure that you're only using that point to pick up your brush or pick up those pearls, okay? Now, we've got our flat side. I also want to just make a note of, so this is our flat side. This is kind of the belly of the brush. This side right here, this is more of the edge. So when we're putting our pearl on, I'm going to tell you use the belly of the brush or the edge of the brush. So the edge of the brush is this side right through here, okay? So just kind of a little bit of information on, you know, pieces and parts of your brush, and now we'll get into actually picking up our pearl and how to do that. So to pick up your pearl, we're going to take our brush, and I'm going to go into my liquid. Now, you guys, a lot of times I see people and they just dab their brush down into their liquid, okay? That's really not going to be able to saturate the brush. What you actually want to do is you want to put your brush down in, let me adjust here so you can really see what I'm doing. You want to put your brush down into your liquid till it touches the bottom, and then just kind of give it a little bit of a press, okay? What that's going to do is, if I come in nice and close, if you press your brush down, do you see how it kind of fans out those bristles? What that's going to do is that's going to allow our brush to kind of work like a sponge, and in between all of these little bristles, it's going to absorb all of that liquid, okay? So if you just take your brush and you just dab it down in there, it's really not going to pick up a whole lot of liquid. But by putting your brush all the way in, pressing that out, it's going to allow that brush to absorb more liquid, okay? The other thing that it's going to do is anytime you're wiping your brush or cleaning your brush out, it spreads out those bristles and it puts kind of a little bit of air in between. So the air in between your bristles, if you were to pick up your powder, I don't know if you guys even saw that or not, but let me kind of exaggerate this and see if you can see. Oh, did you see those quick little air bubbles right at the end of our brush? That's what happens when you wipe out your brush. It separates those bristles and it gets air in between. So if you just dip your brush in there, it's not going to press out any of that air in there, and you can end up with little bubbles in your product. So make sure that you're pressing your brush down in there so it really saturates your brush, but then it's also going to press out any of those little air bubbles so that they don't end up going into your nail, okay? Now, let's actually pick up a pearl. So to pick up our pearl, come up here a little bit. What we're going to do, all right, let's start with what we're not going to do. So what we're not going to do is we're not going to put our brush in. We're not going to wipe out all the liquid. wipe it out of both sides, wipe, 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 and then try to pick up a pearl, what happens? You guys, if we've just wiped out all of that liquid out of our brush, there's no way we're going to be able to pick up a good consistency pearl of acrylic, okay? So we want to make sure that we're dipping and pressing our brush with the liquid properly. So to do that, again, you're going to go into your liquid, press that brush down, you're going to bring that brush out. You're not just going to run it up the side, okay? What I mean by running up the side, let me come in a little closer. You're not just going to run that brush all the way up the side. What that's going to do, that's actually going to wipe out all of the liquid out of your brush, okay? What you want to do instead is pick your brush up and just about in the middle of your brush, just tap, okay? So you're going to see it's going to release a little bit of that liquid. The more you tap, the more liquid is going to be released. So do you see those little drops that are coming down there? Watch really close at the end here. You're going to tap, that's going to release liquid. Tap, release liquid. So the more you tap, the more liquid is going to be released, okay? If you want to pick up a large pearl, just do a little tap. That way you're going to have a lot of liquid in this brush and you're going to be able to pick up a lot of acrylic, okay? If you want a smaller pearl, go ahead and press, 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 maybe press again. See how one last more little drop just kind of came off there? That way you're going to be able to pick up a smaller pearl, okay? So how you adjust the size of your pearl starts with how much liquid you have in your brush. So again, the more liquid in your brush, the larger a pearl you're going to be able to pick up, okay? So let me show you how to pick up the pearl then. You guys, it's all steps. Everything, we have to go step by step so that you learn the proper steps. So again, we're going to come into our liquid. We're going to tap out. Now you guys, I want you to see this. Do you see how the label is on this side of the brush handle? That is going to be, let me hold this up here, that's going to be in line with our crimp. Okay, so this label is on one side of our brush. Now, I want you guys to understand the front side of the brush here, and then if we turn that over is the back side of the brush, okay? That's important when we go to pick up our pearl, so kind of keep that in mind. So again, we're going to press into our liquid. We're going to tap once on the back side of our brush. We've got that label on the front side. Now, what we've done, we've wiped out the liquid out of the back side of our brush. We want to use the front side of our brush to pick up that pearl. So we're going to have to turn our brush over before we go into our powder. So that way, again, the back side of our brush doesn't have that liquid in, the front side does. So now we're going to be using that wet side, that front side of our brush, to go in and pick up our pearl, okay? Now, how do we pick up a proper pearl? Let's go ahead and do that. So again, into our liquid, tap the back side, turn my brush over. I'm using the front side. Now let me readjust here. The motion that we're going to be using is not just straight down into our powder. The reason that we don't just go straight down into our powder is if you take a look, see how on the back of my brush, now I have all of that product on the back of my brush, all of that kind of unabsorbed powder. If we try to put that onto our nail, it's actually going to start to kind of clog our brush. We're never going to get a good clean application, okay? So the motion that we want to use, instead of just that downward motion, we actually want to do kind of a press and pull all in one motion, okay? So again, we're going to press and pull, and then we're going to bounce. So now you can see that I don't have any product now on the back of my brush, and then when I go to set that onto the nail, it's going to release nice and easily, and I'm not going to have any extra residue on my brush, okay? Let me wipe this off my nail before it sets, and then we'll keep going here. Okay, so again, always tap your powder down. I know it sounds like kind of a basic thing to talk about, but it's always important to tap that surface down so you've got a good space to pick up your pearl. Because a lot of times what happens is people will pick up their pearl, and if they don't tap that back down, they just kind of keep digging down in there. And you never, again, are going to be able to get a nice clean pearl because you're always kind of digging down in there, okay? So make sure, give yourself a nice clean space to work on. And you guys kind of notice the color that I'm using, again, is Cover Flamingo. This is a very highly pigmented kind of a powder. So every now and then I will actually give that a stir to make sure that my pigments are mixed in very well to my color, okay? And DIY nails, this says this is a beautiful color. You guys, this is a really pretty color, and it's kind of one that I sometimes forget about, but it is an absolutely gorgeous color, and I love it. So just decided to use that today. Okay, so again, let's come back to our pearl here. So again, we're going to go into our liquid, tap out the back, turn our brush over. We're going to do that press and pull, and then we're going to bounce, bounce, bounce. So by bouncing, what that does is that actually, let me kind of show you. So when you put your brush down into that powder, if you bounce, it's basically going to release liquid and absorb powder, release liquid, absorb powder, release liquid, absorb powder. If you were to just go press and just hold your brush there, it's not going to release enough liquid to pick up that powder, okay? So I hope that makes sense because it's very important. So when you're, again, you're going to do a kind of press and pull and bounce, 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 and we're going to pick up that beautiful shaped pearl. Okay. All right, you guys, I know you're thinking, okay, that's a lot to just pick up a pearl, and it is, but it's so important to get that proper pearl, because if you don't get that proper pearl, trying to put that onto a nail and sculpt your nail is going to be challenging. Okay. So once again, I'm going to show you, whoops, tap out the back side. We're going to press and pull, bounce, 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 pick up our pearl, and we've got that perfect pearl. Okay, now, where do we go from there? Well, we can use our acrylic in several different consistencies, okay? And I'm going to grab a form here to show you guys. So we're going to pick up a pearl, and we can use a pearl in wet form, which is basically press, bounce, bounce, bounce. We're going to wait just a couple of seconds, maybe 1, 2, 3. If we were to set that on the nail, that pearl itself is going to be fairly self-leveling, and it's going to flow. Do you see how it's kind of just softening and then moving down the length of my form? That's one consistency that we're going to use, okay? The other consistency is more of a clay-like form, and for that, I'm going to pick up my pearl, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one, I'm actually going to drain out onto my table towel, pressing that down and holding that there for a few seconds. So now when I place that onto my nail, it's not going to move, okay? It's going to stay more where I put it, okay? This one, I'm going to have a little bit more control as to where I place that and where my product goes. This one's going to flow a little bit more, and it's going to do a little bit more of the work for me, okay? Okay. Let's get into actually applying this, because I know that's what you guys really want to see, but it's really important to understand the basics of how to pull or how to pick up your pearl so that you know how it's going to react and that the product itself is going to work for you instead of you having to do all the work. Okay. Now, when we're working on our free edge, that's where we're going to start. We're going to build out our free edge. So when we're working down there, that's when we want to use that clay form. Okay. So we're going to pick up our pearl, tap the back of our brush. We're going to press, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to drain that out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to set that on that free edge. Press that down. I'm going to wipe out my brush. I'm going to use the belly of my brush, that fat part of my brush. I'm going to press that out so my product is nice and even from side to side. And then I'm going to use the edge of my brush to press in. And then I'm going to use the belly of my brush to press that bulk up into those corners. Again, use the edge of my brush. Now the belly of my brush, edge of my brush, belly of my brush. Now I'm going to walk all the way back across, getting a nice even application. Use the edge of my brush, walk that up into the corner. Now, at this point, we're going to start to pull some of that product down into the length. So I'm using more of the belly of the brush, pressing and pulling down the length of that nail, or the length of the form. Using the edge of my brush to kind of tuck in on those sides, creating more of an almond shape. Okay, use the edge of my brush to tuck in, the belly of my brush to press over the surface, edge of my brush, belly of my brush, edge of my brush, belly of my brush. That way it's going to keep everything nice and even. Your sidewalls and those lower arches are going to be nice and straight. Same thing on the other side over here, nice and straight and nice and even all the way through that extension. Okay? Okay. So we've got our free edge. So again, that was more of clay form. That one we controlled a little bit more. That one we had to do a little bit more pressing and moving it right where we wanted it. Now, when we're doing our over the body of the nail application, this is where we're going to want it to run a little bit more and flow a little bit more. So now instead of pressing out that extra liquid, we're actually just going to hold this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll set it onto the nail. Press that down. I'm going to press the cuticle area with my brush and just kind of get to those corners and pivot my brush. Press, press, pivot my brush. And I'm going to let that nail angle straight down and let that product flow. Okay, it's going to kind of slowly move down the length of the nail. Once it stops, I'm going to lift up. I'm going to brush out just the edge of that product. I'm not pulling all the way from the cuticle area, just from kind of that arch area. Okay, so what that's going to do, again, we pressed out our cuticle area, but then just pulled from here and just blended out that edge. That's going to leave my edge or my stress area a little on the thicker side. So this way my product is going to be able to support this extra length. Okay, I want to make sure that we have a little bit of bulk right through here. And then we're going to pick up another pearl to fill in from here through that free edge. Now this pearl is going to be kind of in between the consistency of our free edge, that clay form, versus the wet pearl that we put up at the cuticle area. This one, we're just going to drain a little bit. So we're going to go in, press, press. I'm going to give it just a 1, 2 drain. I'm going to turn my brush around, set that in the low spot, and I'm going to blend that pearl backwards. Okay, so blending back, blending back. When I get to the sides, pivot my brush on the side. And now I can use more of the belly, kind of that fatter part of the brush, to press that down the length of my nail. Okay, again, just brushing out now, just getting that product all the way to the end of our form. I can also turn my brush around and blend back up into that arch area. This is how I'm going to keep my product nice and thin and tapered at the free edge. So if you see this now, by brushing backwards, it's going to keep everything nice and thin and tapered here, but it's going to keep my bulk right up in my stress area up here. Okay. All right, so we've got our nail built out. We're going to give this a little time. We're going to file this up at the end, but let's go on to our next nail, you guys. So that was kind of the basics, all right? Now let's get into some of the little bit more fun, kind of sparkly stuff. So as long as you know how to pick up your pearls and place those on the nail, now you can really kind of customize your nails. You can create beautiful designs, you can create beautiful glitter mixes and colors, and that's exactly what we are going to do today. Now somebody in the chat says it's too thick. You guys, it is too thick at this point. It's not super thick. We are going to do some filing, okay? When we do our filing, we actually have a nice thin and tapered cuticle area. Our free edge is nice and thin and tapered. Our arch is just a little on the high side. We're going to file that down to kind of even that out, and you'll see that at the end, okay? So don't worry. I know that it's going to need a little filing. That is normal for your acrylic nails, okay? All right, you guys, let's go ahead and mix some glitters. So when you're mixing your glitters into your acrylic, and just grab my little scoop here. All right, I'm going to put my cover Flamingo away, but we're going to grab our Speed Clear. So Speed Clear is a great product to mix your glitters into, and I love using this because it's a very clear, and it works great for mixing your glitters. So I've got 2 little Dappen dishes here, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 scoops of our Speed Clear in both of these dishes. 1, 2, 3. Now, a good ratio of acrylic to glitter is 3 to 1. So we've got 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter. So we're going to create 1 part of glitter, and we're going to do kind of that rose gold, and we're going to do our shimmering sand in each one of these. So let's start with our rose gold. Now, to get 1 part of this, I'm actually going to mix 3 glitters in there. So I want about 1/3 of a scoop of my solid glitter here. So it's going to be about 1/3 of a scoop there. We're going to do 1/3 of a scoop of our iridescence right there. And then 1/3 of a scoop of our chunky glitter. Now you guys, you're gonna see when I mix these colors, okay, so I've got my rose gold. Let me come in, whoops, come in a little bit closer for you guys, maybe see a little bit better. So I got my rose gold, and then I've got my shimmering sand that I'm gonna do in my second mix. So again, about a third of a scoop of the rose gold, or of the shimmering sand. But now you guys, these two colors that I already mixed in with my kind of that pink color, these I'm going to call them my kicker colors, because these I'm going to use in both glitter mixes. And what that's going to do is it's going to help to kind of make these colors really blend together when I put them onto my nail. Okay, so they're going to really help to keep those colors fading together. Okay, so let me close these up quick. All right, so we've got our glitters in our acrylic. We're gonna mix that up. See what we've got here. Mix that one. See what we've got there. And then I always like to do kind of a test, just kind of a little sample swatch of these before I actually use them. And that way I'll be able to see, do I need any more glitter? Yes, I definitely need more glitter in that one. Let's take a look. I definitely need a little bit more glitter in both of these. So if you kind of take a look, do you see how it's not really very solid color? It's a little bit more kind of salt and peppery looking, okay? I really want to make sure that I've got enough glitter in here so that I can really see that in my nail. So I'm going to add a pretty good amount more, and then we'll give that a mix up and see. And you guys, when you're doing these combinations, I say 3 to 1, so 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter is kind of an estimate, but we're actually going to cap this with clear, so we don't have to worry too much if we've got a little bit of extra glitter in there. Now see, that one's looking a little bit better. I think I still want just a tiny little bit more. Okay, so we'll add just a little bit more. All right, maybe a pinch more there. And let's go ahead and mix this one up as well. Let's see where that one's at. All right. Okay, so you guys, now you can see. Okay, so if you take a look at this last one that I just did, the density of that glitter versus that first one that I did. This one's going to have way more glitter to it. It's going to have a little bit more of full coverage, okay? And that's what we're going for today. So this one, same kind of thing. This one is a little bit less on the coverage, so that one we're going to want to mix in a little bit more glitter as well. And we'll add, so this one we added probably about another half a scoop. Let's go ahead and add about that same amount to our pink mixture. And I think that'll be good too. So we'll give that another quick mix. And then let's check this one, see what this one looks like. All right, you guys, definitely better on that. So that's, again, a little bit more of that solid coverage, okay? All right, you guys, make sure that you hit that subscribe button before I move on to our next step so you can continue to get all of this great free education. And I'm just going to clean up a couple of things here, and then we will go on to our next nail. All right, so that first nail, that one is all set. I'm going to take my form off of that one there. And let's go ahead and get a form onto our second nail. Now our second nail is already prepped. We did that at the very beginning here. So if you guys need information about prepping nails, we've got tons of videos on our YouTube channel here. You guys, we have over 3,000 videos on our channel. So if you need more education, again, hit that subscribe button and check out all the rest of our videos. But our nail is prepped and ready to go. We pinched those 2 little silver tabs together on our form. We're going to get that right up underneath that nail, kind of coming in. Whoops, let me readjust there. Coming in at just a slight downward angle and then lifting up on that edge so that form comes straight out from our natural nail. We'll secure that down there. And again, because we're going to be creating a little bit more of a longer almond-shaped nail, we're just going to pinch that form together, okay? Now, you guys, I'm going to start by building out my extension with our Speed Clear. On this first one, we did a layer of our cover Flamingo on our free edge. When we're doing design work, I'm going to start with my Speed Clear. So we're going to use those same techniques though. So on our free edge, we're still going to use that more clay-like consistency. So we're going to go back to our liquid, tap out our brush, we're going to press, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to pick up that pearl. I'm going to drain that out onto my towel. And then we're going to set that right at that free edge. Okay, so this way, again, it's going to allow my product to just kind of soften. And then now I can use my brush to press that into place. So again, using the corner or the edge of my brush, press all the way across, now using the belly of my brush, tuck in on the edges, press that product up into the corner. And then again, we're going to start to pull that product down the length of the nail, really just trying to keep this first layer nice and thin, because at this point, all we're trying to do is just really create a platform to apply our glitter to. So it's kind of like if you were working with tips, you put a tip on first and then you apply your acrylic over the top of that. Same kind of thing here. We're just creating an extension to put our product onto. Okay. Now, when we're working with our glitters and any colors that we're going to be putting up on that natural nail, a lot of times what I like to do is I will come in with a very small pearl. So just a teeny tiny little one, leave that wet, set that right at that cuticle area, kind of press that out and just lightly blend through. Okay, you guys, if you take a look at this from the side, you're going to see that didn't add any thickness to this nail at all. Okay, what it did do though is it gave our nail a barrier. So when we do our glitter over the top of this, if we decide that we're going to change our glitter out, maybe she comes in a couple of weeks and she doesn't like this glitter anymore, she wants to change it out to something else, we can just clip off the free edge, file down any glitter that's up over the natural nail here, and then you can change it out, and you don't have to be filing all the way down to that natural nail, and you don't have to completely soak the product off. So it's a quick, easy way of changing out, but still protecting that natural nail underneath. Okay? All right, so at this point, we've got our extension built out. We've got kind of a skeleton of our nail here. So now, let's see, do we want to start with our pink or do we want to start with our gold? I think what do you guys think? Pink or gold first? Let me know in the chat. Do you want pink or gold first? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go with the first thing that I see, pink or gold, pink or gold, pink. Okay, somebody said pink, so we'll start with pink. So I'm going to start with a pearl of our pink. I'm going to pick that up. Okay, this one I'm just going to drain out just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. I'm going to set that right at my kind of that free edge where that natural nail ends. We're going to press this out from side to side, and then we're just going to start to press that all the way down the length of the nail. Again, we're keeping this product fairly thin. We're not trying to build up the whole entire structure with this color, okay? We need to leave a little bit of room to put a little bit of clear over the top of this so that we can get really good structure without filing off our glitter, okay? So that's going to be our free edge. Now, I want to take a little bit more of that pink, so just a little pearl, leave that wet, and then we're going to just tap that down kind of right in front of that, and then just kind of fade that product back. You can even turn your brush around and just kind of grab the edges of that glitter just to kind of blend that back. Now, if you guys want just to leave the nail like this and have just kind of a blend like that, you can definitely do that. Or you can go on to our next step and we can do a two-color fade. So we're going to grab a little bit of that gold, that shimmering sand color. This one we're going to leave on the wet side. We're going to set that right at the cuticle area. Press out our cuticle area just like we did on our first nail. Let that product kind of flow, let it run, and then I'm going to use just the tip of my brush to blend that glitter out. Okay, pressing that out, blend, blend, blend. So you guys, if you were with us for that first demo, you're going to see all of these same techniques that I'm using, okay? So again, I'm just blending out the edge of that glitter. I'm not pulling from all the way back here, okay? So blend right through there. Now, if you feel like maybe you need just a little bit more of maybe the gold, again, you can pick up just a tiny little pearl. And you guys, I want you to see how I did that. So let me come over here really quick. So to pick up that tiny little pearl, I go into my liquid, wipe out a good amount of that liquid out of there, and just barely tap. So that way, you guys, you can see, even using this really large size brush, it's a size 12, you can still pick up those smaller pearls And you can pick up whatever size pearl you need, okay? All right, let me come back to here. So again, if you need to, you can, let me come back there. All right, you guys, and I know that sometimes the camera has a challenge, there we go, but it sometimes has a challenge focusing on the sparkles, so I'll do the best that I can here. But just gonna, again, grab that little bit of a wet pearl and just kind of tap that right on there. Now, if you wanted a little bit more of that pink, again, pick up a nice tiny little pearl, tap that on there, and just kind of leave that wet. Let that liquid from your brush help it kind of flow. But now, you guys, do you see the colors in the gold part and the pink part? Because I added those two kicker colors, those two iridescent glitters, that's what's really allowing these colors to blend together and look similar, okay? So that's why I love to add those two different colors into both of my glitter mixtures, okay? All right, now at this point, we're gonna go back through and we're going to cap this whole nail because again, if we look at this nail from the side, we still don't have the correct structure all the way through, and we need a little bit of the clear acrylic over it so that we don't file out that blend and we don't file off our glitter. Okay, so let's go back to just like we did on this one. We're gonna pick up a pearl, overlay it from the cuticle to about here, and then we will continue to fill in the rest, okay? So let's grab our clear. Let me come back out just a little bit. There you go. So again, press out the back side. We're gonna pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one I'm gonna let set 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna set that right at my cuticle area, angle the finger down, press out that cuticle, get that nice and tapered. And now you guys, now I'm using my speed clear. So this one is gonna set a little bit quicker than my cover colors. So the cover flamingo that I was using earlier, that one had a little bit more time to work with it, and it's warm in my room also. So this product is gonna start to set a little bit quicker. So on this one, I did need to move a little bit faster, okay? But we're also gonna go back through, fill in this extension part right here. And same thing, pick up that pearl, press, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one I'm gonna drain out just a tiny little bit, turn my brush around, press that in, blend that back up to my arch, blend back, wipe out my brush, and now I'm just gonna use the belly of my brush to start to pull that down the length of the nail. Okay, pulling that down, pulling that down. Okay. Just want to make sure that I've got that whole nail capped in clear, sealing all of those pieces of glitter in, making sure everything is covered, okay? So again, at this point, you're gonna be able to see, let me come in a little closer, maybe that'll focus. There we go. So you're gonna be able to see that my cuticle area is nice and thin and tapered, my free edge is nice and thin and tapered, and I've got a little bit more product in my stress area, which is exactly what I want. We're gonna go through and file these out to make sure that everything is in perfect structure, but this one does have to set. So I'm gonna close up my liquids and powders, give you guys a chance to hit that subscribe button, and then we will file out our first nail and show you guys how to do that. So let me close everything up. And I'm going to open up my dust collector here. And you guys, I always use my dust collector when I'm filing, whether it's acrylics or hard gels, even gel polish. I always use my dust collector so that I'm not breathing in all of this acrylic dust, okay? So we're going to turn that on. So that bit that we were using to prep our nails, that was our sanding band. This bit, if we tried to use that over this acrylic, it's going to take us forever. So we want to make sure that we're using a good bit designed to shave down product and take down bulk of our acrylic. So we're going to use our X-Cut carbide. Now again, this one is designed to take down product. So make sure you're not using this on a natural nail, just over acrylic or hard gel. We're going to be turning our E-file to about 14 to 15,000 RPMs. And we're going to start by straightening out our perimeter. And what I mean by our perimeter is basically our sidewalls here and our free edge, okay? Now, because we're working on kind of an almond-shaped nail, we're not going to do too much kind of straightening here, but we'll just kind of round that out a little bit. So I'm going to straighten out my sides, and I'm just going to pull down on my left side, and I'm going to push back on my right side. This is going to keep my bit going in the opposite direction of the way that I'm pulling. So my bit is spinning in the opposite direction of whichever way I'm moving that bit. That way it's going to get a little bit of kind of a grip on the nail, and it's not just going to fly right over the surface of it, okay? So we've straightened out those sides. Now to clean up our free edge, I'm going to start just going to pull down, lighten up on my pressure, and then push back up around, okay? So pull down and around. Now if you want to shorten this up at all, you can just put a little bit more pressure right across, but otherwise pull down and around, okay? Now, you guys, be careful as you're working, okay? I think a lot of times what happens is people get a little bit afraid when they start to hear that little bit more of a grinding sound. Don't worry about it, okay? Just make sure that you're using even pressure all the way through, okay? All right, we've got our perimeter in there. We're gonna turn that nail on the side. So if you guys take a look at the side view here, okay, we've got product that's kind of hanging down here. We want to make sure that our product is coming straight out from our lower arch. So do you see how I'm holding my orange wood stick here? We want our product to come all the way straight out from that cuticle area all the way down. So anything that's being covered up by my orange wood stick right now, that's what needs to get filed off of this nail, okay? So all of this little bit that's hanging down here, we're going to file that off. So I'm going to go back to my E-file here. Okay. And this time we're going to push in. Okay. Just going to push in just to clean up that little bit that was hanging down below. Now we didn't have a whole lot, so I didn't have a whole lot of work to do. Let's take a look on our other side. Usually my left side has a little bit more hanging down. So on this side, again, going against the rotation of our bit, we're going to start up at the top here and pull that bit down. Okay. Again, keeping that straight in line. Kind of using that orange wood stick as a visual, so anything that's hanging lower than that is going to get removed, and just pulling that straight. Now we've got a little bit of product that's kind of up into this corner. I'm not going to worry about that just yet because I don't want to get my bit too close up into kind of that skin area. So just working right through here, okay? Now we're going to turn this nail on the side, and I'm going to look kind of from the top view, and I'm going to work right up around that cuticle area. Thin out that cuticle area, okay? Then we're going to turn that nail on the side, looking from the side view. This is how we're going to adjust our arch. So at this point, you guys can see that my cuticle area is nice and thin and tapered. It's a little bit thicker right in my stress area, which is exactly what we want, and it's nice and thin and tapered down to that free edge. Now, do we need this much bulk right through here? No. So that's where we're going to, just like I'm showing you here, look from the side view. And we're going to work right from the center down to the side. So if I take a look and show you guys this, I'm working basically from the middle of the nail down to the side. I'm not trying to come all the way across that nail, because what happens is if you're looking from this view and you try to come all the way from side to side, a lot of times you tend to lose control, and that bit can kind of catch your client's finger and wrap around. And that could actually cut the client's finger underneath. So make sure that when you're looking from this direction, that bit stays on the top of the nail and it never disappears behind that product. You see how I'm kind of losing sight of the bottom part of my bit? That's probably going to have a tendency to wrap around. So if you stay on the surface of that nail and you work out to the sides, that's going to help to keep your product right where you want it. Okay, and this way you're going to be able to see exactly how thick or thin you want that arch and that apex. Okay, so again, working from the center down to the side, and you guys notice how my bit is going at a slight downward angle here, a little bit more flat here, and a slight upward angle here at the free edge. That's how I'm going to get the proper structure when I'm filing. I don't just file flat through the whole nail. I curve my bit and contour that nail, okay? So again, coming from the center down to the sides, once you have that arch kind of into place, then you can look straight down the barrel of the nail. So now if we take a look from this view, you can see exactly where I've filed right through the center. I know it looks kind of flat here, but it's really not, because from the side we can see that arch. But what we do need to do is take down the bulk from these sides, okay? That is going to help to contour our nail and give it that beautiful curve and that nice rounded edge. Okay, so just taking that product down, taking that bulk down, same thing on the other side here. We're just going to pull that bit towards myself, taking down that bulk. Now you guys, I'm not going all the way from the back of the nail forward. I'm just going from, let me show you, from about the stress area. So from that stress area forward is where I'm pulling. Okay, once we have the bulk from that area taken down, okay, then I can actually kind of look a little bit more down the barrel. So from here, you guys, you can see I can't see all the way back to that cuticle area. So that's why I'm not trying to file all the way from back here. But once I've taken down that bulk, then I can angle it down slightly, and then I can just flow through that whole nail, making sure that everything is nice and smooth and even. Okay? All right, I do tend to go back to my side view one last time just to make sure that everything is where it should be. And now you guys can see that really beautiful flowing arch in there. Again, that nice thin and tapered cuticle area, just a little bit higher right through our stress area, and then nice and flowing right through our thin free edge, okay? So that's the structure that we're wanting on this nail. Now you guys, let's see, is our second nail done? Our second nail is done. So let's go ahead and file that one out as well. And then we'll come back and we'll do our finished filing by hand, okay? So we're gonna do the same exact thing. We're gonna start with our perimeter, straighten out our sidewalls, clean up and round out that free edge a little bit. So push back on our right side. Okay, same thing, pull down on the left, around the free edge, push back on the right. Turn that nail on the side. Again, this side doesn't have a whole lot of product hanging down below, so we'll go ahead and just clean up a little bit of that. But again, on that left side, there is a little bit more hanging down. So just pulling that straight down, getting that product nice and straight out. Okay, you guys, you want to make sure that, again, you're not cutting up into that corner or starting all the way up there. Just work down through that free edge, and we'll get the rest of that with our hand file, okay? Okay, same thing around that cuticle area. We're going to come up around our cuticle, thin that out nice and even. And again, you guys, like we were talking about before at the beginning when we were talking about prepping, I'm not angling up and using the corner of my bit. I'm using the full, probably the full 2/3 of my bit, and keeping that bit flat on the nail. Okay, so again, that way, if you were angling up like this is going to start to cause damage and cut into that nail, whereas this is just going to take down your product where you need it without causing any damage. Okay, so again, right down that free edge, contouring all the way through. And you guys notice that I don't even necessarily come all the way across to that side. I don't need to. I'm just trying to get that visual of my arch and my apex right in the center. And then again, I will turn on that down the barrel view, work from that stress area forward, tapering down those sides, making sure that bulk is down, making sure those fat, thick parts are down. Just cleaning everything up. And then once I've got that, then I can follow through that whole body of the nail, really just making sure everything is tapered and contoured all the way through, even down those sides a little bit. Okay, so now you can see we've got a little bit more of that rounded surface all the way through to the top. Okay. Somebody's asking, what do you do under the nail? You guys, good question. On these, I don't really do anything under the nail because we had our forms up underneath there. We've got a nice, nice smooth free edge to work with. Okay, so we don't have to do anything under the form. But I think we're good with our perimeter. I think we're good with our shaping. And you know what? Actually, if we take, I'm going to turn these nails around here really quick. I'm just going to check my length from this view. So we want these two nails to look at least related. So I'm actually going to take this one a little bit more narrow. See how that one's a little bit more narrow here? I'm going to take this one a little bit more narrow so it's going to look a little bit more like our next nail here. So again, just kind of pulling through those sides and then again pushing up the right side. So this is going to taper that in just a little bit more. And again, pull down that side. So we'll just kind of make them a little more related. And you guys, that's the thing. When you're working on nails, don't spend so much time overthinking and trying to file everything 100% perfect. You guys, as long as these nails look related, they're good, okay? As long as they're all the right length and shape, they're good, okay? All right, now notice I did put my sanding band back in. I'm going to turn my speed down now to about 7,000 RPMs. And I'm going to work right up around my cuticle area again. And again, we're going both of these nails here. We're going to work up around that cuticle area, down the sides here, and then I'm just going to kind of flow through that whole length. Again, you guys, I'm not coming all the way across that nail, just flowing kind of from that center point down. And this is just going to really help to refine my nail a little bit more, so I don't have to do quite as much hand filing at the end. The less I have to do by hand, the better. You guys, when you're working with the electric file and you know how to use your electric file properly, this is going to save your hands, it's going to save your wrists, your neck. It's really going to help you have a much longer career as a nail tech, because you're not going to be putting so much strain on your hands and your wrists. So the more you can do with your electric file, the better you're going to be in the long run. Okay? Same thing on the second nail, right up around that cuticle, making sure everything is nice and tapered. And then we're going to go all the way through, cleaning up that structure a little bit more, making sure everything is nice and even. Turn that from the front view, pull forward. All right, you guys, as we're filing here, I'm gonna wait for just a minute, but I do want to talk about pricing in just a second. But you guys, I want to know what you guys think. So put into the chat, what do you guys think a price for this nail for this set would be? Okay, what do you think? How much do you think these nails would go for? Let me know in the chat, and then we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, I'm going to grab a brand new file, and I'm going to take my old prep file. You guys, this is the file that I use for prepping my files. I'm just going to run that along the top of my file, softening up those sharp edges so I don't cut anybody, making sure that's nice and smooth. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm seeing a lot of variation in pricing, everywhere from $20 to $150 to $200. Woo! Somebody says 6,478. Dang, I want to work in your area. All right, you guys, we'll talk about pricing here in just a second, but it's interesting to see all of the different, kind of the different pricings that you guys are thinking about here. So we're going to just start our finish filing here with our hand file, and this is a 150 grit file. I'm just coming along my sidewalls, just like we did with the E file, to clean up our perimeter. So shaping around around the sides, shaping that free edge. I'm going to turn that nail on the side, and we're going to clean up that lower arch, making sure that it's still coming nice and straight out from the free edge. Same thing on the other side, turn that over, make sure that's coming nice and straight out from the free edge. And then we're going to come back from that front view. So up and around our cuticle area, tapering, and then we're just going to come up around our sides, rounding out those sides a little bit more, down around our other side on our cuticle area, and then up through the rest of that length. Okay, and you guys, do you see how minimal the filing is by hand now? Because we did so much work with our electric file, we don't have a whole lot of tapering, a whole lot of cleanup to do with our hand file. Nice and quick and easy. Okay, all right, let's come back to our second nail here. Same thing, straighten out our sidewalls, clean up that free edge, and you guys notice how I'm balancing. So on whatever side I'm not filing on, I'm still using pressure to kind of balance on those edges. Okay, lower arch, same thing. When I'm putting pressure under the lower arch, I'm putting pressure on top of that nail. So again, this is going to help to balance our nail so that it's not going to be putting pressure on that nail bed, and we're going to be able to file nice and straight because our nail isn't wobbling back and forth. Okay, so we're going to continue here through our free edge, straighten out that free edge, come up around our cuticle area, Again, making sure that's nice and thin, nice and tapered, up around our sidewalls, making sure everything is nice and rounded. Back up to our cuticle area, kind of working around that sidewall again, rounding out that sidewall, and then turn that nail towards the side so we can see our apex. Make sure that's in the proper position, okay? All right, last thing I'm gonna do to file these nails, let's come from our client's view, and we're gonna look and see what our client sees. So first of all, I'm gonna check my length, okay? Do these nails look about the same length? Yep, those look pretty good. I think this one may be just a hair longer, but I'm gonna not worry about that just yet. I am gonna straighten this one out. Comes a little bit off the side here. I'm gonna just kind of clean that up. And you guys, I always like to check this from my client's view because she's gonna see her nails like this, and I wanna make sure that I'm seeing what she's seeing. And I'm gonna turn that nail and I'm gonna look straight down the barrel. This way I can catch any last little lumps or bumps, anything that I may have missed from that free edge view. Okay, let's come around here. All right, I think everything looks nice and even. Clean up that shaping just a little bit more on that free edge, and I think we're good. I'm gonna do the same thing with this nail, check our sidewalls, make sure everything is nice and straight, clean up that free edge, and again, we're gonna look backwards down the barrel of this nail. Okay, so come along those sidewalls. And I'm just flowing my file all the way through the length of this nail. Okay, notice that I don't do a lot of just short little choppy strokes like this, because if you're doing those short little strokes like that, every time you do that, that's putting a flat spot. If you keep your file in motion, keep that file moving, keep that kind of flowing through that free edge, that's going to help to give you a really nice smooth finish. Okay, I think we are good there. All right, now let's take a look here. Take a look at our nails here. You guys, what do you think? Are you ready for top coat, or do you want an added bonus today? Let me know in the chat. Do you want top coat or added bonus? Or do you want to talk pricing? There's so many things we could do today. You know what, you guys, let's talk pricing. Let's talk pricing really quick, and I'll top coat these, and then maybe we'll do an added bonus. So let's talk pricing on these. So if I was just doing a full set of nails like this one, okay, this is just going to be, it's going to be my standard pricing, which you guys, I'm going to tell you what my pricing is. Take the pricing and you can make it your own, you can adjust it. But for my set of nails, for a nail this length and this shape, I would start this at, let's start at $100. And now my $100 set is going to be for a nail that's this length and this shape. So $100 for a set of nails, shorter active length like this and square. Okay. When I add on extra length like this, I'm going to add on an extra $10 to $20. Okay. Also, if I'm adding on a custom shape, I'm going to add on an extra $10 to $20. Okay. So again, if I was going to be doing a full set of nails just like this one, I would charge anywhere from 110 to 100, I would say 110 to 140, just kind of depending on my salon, okay? So that would be for this set. Now, if I were going to be adding in nails like this one, where I'm adding in, same thing, I'm adding in the extra length, I'm adding in the custom shaping, and now I'm adding in dimension, okay? So what I mean by dimension is if I'm adding anything down into this nail, I'm going to charge extra for it. Okay, you guys, if you take a look at my nails, these are dimensional nails. So these glitters and these colors, those are down into the nails. So that's what I consider a dimension. Now, anytime I'm doing a dimensional nail, I charge an additional $10 to $20 per nail because, you guys, here's why. Okay, it's going to take me more time. It's going to take me more product, it's going to take me more knowledge, it's more expertise, and it's also going to take me more time and effort when I do my change outs on these, okay? So you do have to make sure that you're charging extra for all of these different things. So again, for my dimensional sets, I'm going to charge an extra $10 to $20 per nail, and that includes one glitter, okay? Now, if I'm going to be adding in more glitters like I did here, I'm going to be charging an additional $5 per glitter. Okay, so it includes this one, but I'm going to add $5, $10, $15 extra because I'm adding in those extra glitters. Okay, you guys, I know a lot of times people say you can't charge that much, that's a lot. You know what? Here's the thing, you guys. When you go to order a pizza, they charge you one price for a cheese pizza, right? They charge you for each additional topping that you put on top of that pizza, okay? They don't give you a supreme pizza for the same price as a cheese pizza, okay? They have to keep all of those different ingredients in stock. And it's the same when you're doing nails. You have to make sure that you have all of these products in stock. You have to make sure that you know how to use them, and you have to make sure that they are good quality, okay? So that's why we are going to be charging extra for this. Now, let's go ahead and finish these nails. So I dusted them off. I'm going to wait till that swipe dries, and I'm going to use a little bit more of our protein bond. And we are going to just apply one more coat of our protein bond here on that whole nail. And then we will go ahead and top coat. And, oh, you guys, don't go anywhere. We're not done yet. I'm going to throw in my added bonus here for you, okay? But we're going to finish these two nails using our Ultimate Finish top coat. So again, we're just going to go through, do a nice, quick, easy top coat here. Ultimate Finish is a great top coat because it's a quick one step. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to wipe off any tacky surface to it or anything like that. Once it is cured, it is fully cured, and there's no tacky surface to wipe off, okay? So let's go ahead and top coat that. Now this is going to go into the light for 60 seconds, okay? And I'm going to get that into our light here, and we'll get that in. Let's cure that for our full 60 seconds. And you guys, I think what I'm gonna do, so what if we want to finish out this set? You guys, a lot of times I get the question of what would you do on the rest of the nails to finish out the set? So you know what, let me grab my second little trainer hand here. And I've got a couple of nails that I've already finished. And so I'm going to show you what else I would add in to this set to kind of finish up the set. Actually, we'll do one more nail here, okay? And so some options you guys have, you could do maybe a solid color on the other nails here. You could do glitters. You could do really a whole lot of different things. But today I want to show you one more quick, easy technique that you can throw in and incorporate into your sets. And you guys, that is chrome. Chrome is a really super fun and really easy tool to use on your sets. So we're going to take our nail that we've finished. So just like I finished the other nails over here, actually let's go ahead and we'll put a couple of nails onto here. So I've got a couple of nails that are completely finished, filed out. They're just slightly shorter than the ones that we just did here, but that's okay. We'll pretend that they all look the same. So we've got our two original nails here. So to finish out the set, I'm going to dust those two nails off. And again, use a little bit of our swipe. We're going to cleanse that nail surface, get that nice and clean. And then we will go ahead and, with the chrome colors that I'm using, so you've got a couple of options. If you want a lighter look, you can just use your Ultimate Finish. If you want a more bold look, I would put down a coat of your, let me grab it here, of black gel polish, and I would use our Manicure Black 101, and you can do that to give it a little bit more of a bold look. But I'm actually going to go with a little bit of a softer look today because I feel like with the colors that we've got on here, I feel like we need just a little bit of a softer look. So I'm going to put on a coat of our protein bond, and then we will go into our Ultimate Finish top coat. So when I'm working on chrome applications, I love the Ultimate Finish because it's like I said you guys earlier, it is a tack-free, but it has a little bit of a grip to the surface. So once it comes out of the light, it's going to be able to really grip onto that chrome powder, but it's not going to be a tacky surface, okay? So I'm going to apply a nice thin, even coat of our Ultimate Finish. And you guys, I'm going to show you this. Let me come in really close. Do you see there's a little tiny piece of lint on here? I'm actually going to start this nail all over. Because I'm using chrome, I'm just going to wipe that off. When you're working with chrome, if there is any last little pieces of dust or anything like that on the nail, it is going to show under that chrome. So you want to make sure that you've got a really nice smooth surface and that there's no dust, there's no other particles on that nail. Okay, so make sure you've got that nice clean surface to work on. So I just cleansed that nail with swipe. Hopefully all of that dust is off, but I am going to go back in with one more coat of my protein bond just to make sure that I've got that really good adhesion, okay? All right, so again, we're going to go in with a coat of our ultimate finish, brush that on, and if you were doing a coat of the black 101 first, you would put that on, fully cure that, or you could even leave it just cured for about 30 seconds or so. Just enough to set that into place. Now, normally I don't use 2 solid coats of the black. One is enough to give it a kind of a good background, okay? So let's go into our light. Now, with this top coat, I'm only going to cure this into place for about 30 seconds, okay? When I'm working with the chrome, I actually want a little bit more of an uncured surface to work on. So I'm just going to grab my table towels back on my station here. And while that is curing, I'm going to grab my chrome powders. So you guys, you could use one color or you can use all of them. I'm actually going to kind of use a little bit of a few of these different colors so that way we get a little bit more kind of a color combination that's going to go with our glitter mix. So again, we've only cured this nail for 30 seconds, so our ultimate finish has a little bit of an uncured surface. So I'm just going to grab, and you guys, I'm just using a makeup applicator, just kind of an eyeshadow sponge, and just kind of wiping on some of those colors wherever I feel. And you guys, you can see these colors aren't super different, but they are going to kind of blend together. But depending on how you look at that nail, depending on the angle, you're going to see different colors. So you could use one color, you could use a couple of different colors, but however many colors you put on there, make sure that you've got enough of that powder on your sponge. You don't want to just be kind of rubbing that sponge over that top coat without anything on it. So now that I've got that chrome powder on there, I'm just going to kind of blend all the way through that just to make sure that I've got that whole nail covered in that chrome powder. Now, you guys, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can come in. Do you see how on the nail it looks a little bit dusty and a little bit more sparkly? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the other side of my little sponge here, and I'm going to actually wipe off any last little bits of that chrome powder. I want to make sure that I don't have any more powder on the nail, because if you do have any more powder, it's going to be more of a sparkly surface rather than a chrome surface. So we're going to wipe all of that extra powder off. I'm going to put this back into the light again. Okay, so remember on that first coat, sorry guys, whoops. So on that first coat of our ultimate finish, we only cured it for 30 seconds, okay? That's not a full cure. So I want to make sure that now I go back and I cure it for the full 60 seconds, which is another 30 seconds here, and then we will top coat it. But the second cure, what this is going to do is it's actually going to allow that chrome to kind of grip into that layer of top coat. So it's really going to hold that chrome on. And I think this is one technique that really helps to ensure that your chrome lasts well, because if you cure it into that layer of top coat, it's really going to adhere, okay? Now, to finish this nail, we're going to go into our stain-resistant top coat. Now, whatever top coat you use, you want to use 2 coats of top coat to finish your chrome, because this way it's going to have really good seal all the way around. So on this one, we're going to start, let me come different angle here for you guys. So we're going to seal from the cuticle all the way down the sides, and I kind of turn that finger on the side so that I can get that brush all the way down my edge. Make sure that you're really sealing all the way down those edges so that your chrome isn't going to chip, okay? Now, could you use 2 coats of your ultimate finish? Absolutely, you could. However, ultimate finish is a little bit of a thicker top coat than stain resistant, So it is going to make the nail feel a little bit more bulky. But that's why I like to use the stain resistant. I feel like it's a really nice hard gel that is going to seal that chrome, and it's going to give you a thin finish. Okay, now if you are working over just a natural nail, then I would stick to the Ultimate Finish rather than using the stain resistant. Stain resistant you don't want to use on natural nails. It is too hard and it can crack. So make sure that you're using the Ultimate Finish if you're doing this on a natural nail. Okay, so that was just one more 30-second cure. We'll do our second coat, and you guys, I'm going to just finish this set with another solid colored nail. So let's get our, did we protein bond this one? I don't think we protein bonded this one. So let's protein bond this one. We will finish curing these both together, and then I will show you the final look of the set, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about our chrome pricing as well. So one more coat of our stain resistant, again, making sure that we get all the way to those edges, all the way around that free edge, making sure everything is nice and sealed to give you that really nice long-lasting finish on your chrome. Whoops, sorry guys. So again, let's just finish this one with a solid color or just that cover Flamingo underneath there. You guys, again, you could use a gel polish on this one, but I'm just going to kind of show you how I would probably finish out this set. So this one, again, is going to go back into that light for a full 60 seconds. And you guys, when we're doing chrome, okay, think about all of the different steps that we had to do for chrome, okay? We had to use our Ultimate Finish as a base. Again, if you wanted a more bold, you would have used the Black 101 as a base, but you would have to do that Ultimate Finish, then you do your chrome powders, and then you do 2 more coats of your top coat. You guys, again, this is going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, a little bit more product. So I personally am going to charge $10 to $20 extra for my chrome application, again, depending on how many nails I'm going to be doing. Okay, so you guys make sure that when you are doing your pricing and figuring out how much you want to charge, you do have to make sure that you're charging for both time, product, and knowledge. Okay, so make sure that you're not skimping on those things. All right, those of you that are nail techs here in the chat, hopefully you guys are setting your prices accordingly. And if you're an enthusiast, make sure that you are doing the same thing. So at this point, our stain resistant top coat is fully cured out. It does have a tacky finish, so I'm going to use our swipe and we are going to cleanse. Let's see, I did these 2 with our Ultimate Finish, but these last 2 with our stain resistant. So I am going to cleanse our last 2 nails here with our swipe to clean off that tacky finish, and then also clean off any of that extra chrome powder that may have been up around there, and finishing this one here. So again, you guys, let's talk final pricing on this whole set, okay? So somebody's going to have to take notes for me because I'm going to have a challenge talking about this and thinking it through in my head at the same time. But our normal nails for our set, we're going to start at $100 for just those solid pink nails, okay? We're going to add on an extra $10 for the length, so we're at $110, and an extra $10 for our shape, so we're at $120, okay? We're going to add on an extra $10 for our chrome, so we're at $130. We're going to add on $10 for our dimensional nail, so that's $140, and that includes 1 glitter. Okay. We also added in 3 more glitters, so we're at 100. Let's see, we were at 140. I'm charging $5 per glitter extra, so 140, 145, 150, 155. Okay. So you guys, this set all together is going to be at least, I would say, $155, okay? Now, again, some people may add a little bit more cost for the extra length or the shape or the dimension and things like that. But honestly, you guys, for a set like this, I wouldn't charge any less, okay? So hopefully you guys, I hope this makes sense to you. Hopefully you enjoyed our lessons today. Let me show you our final looks on our gorgeous stilettos. Or I guess they were a longer almond shape, but our almond shape with our 2 color fade and our chrome fade all together there. You guys make sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Oh, somebody is asking, why so expensive? All right, you guys, great question. Why would I charge all of these additional prices? A lot of different reasons, okay? So let's talk about just having product, okay? If I'm doing all of these additional services and adding in all of this product, you guys, I have to have all of this product in stock. You guys, I'm going to turn my camera around here real quick. Hello, everybody. But do you guys see all of these different colors behind me, all of these different gel polishes and all of these other different things? You guys, this is only a fraction of the products that I work with, okay? When you're doing nails like this, you have to have all of these different things in stock. You have to have all of these products available. So it's going to cost you money to have this kind of stock, okay? So that's the first thing that's going to cost you money. And that's the first reason that you're going to have to charge extra for these different things. But here's the thing, you guys. What did we say, $155 for this set? I think, did we say that? I can't remember what we said. But if you think about it, that $155 doesn't go right to your nail tech's pocket. Okay, that $155 pays their salon rent. It pays their utilities. It pays for all of their products. It pays for their license and their insurance. Oh my goodness, you guys, what else does it pay for? Those of you that are nail techs, tell me in the chat. Let me know in the chat. What other expenses as a nail tech do you have? Because you guys, we have a lot of expenses. Credit card machines. We have to pay for credit cards or taking credit cards in the salon. We have all of these different expenses before we even have that money in our pocket. So you guys, all of these different reasons that we add on prices for these add-on art and things like that, there is a legitimate reason for it. We're not just charging you extra because we want to make millions of dollars. I mean, granted, yeah, we want to make money. We want to make sure that we are able to support our families and support, ourselves. But we're not just overcharging you to overcharge you, okay? We do need to make an income, and a lot of times these little add-ons, that's our add-ons for ourselves. That is my health insurance. That is because as an independent nail tech, we don't have an employer paying for our health insurance. If I have to take a sick day, I don't have somebody else paying for my sick day. So all of those little add-ons, that extra $5 in glitter, it's not that big of a deal to a client, but an extra $5 to pay for my sick day off or my kid's sick day off is huge, okay? So scumbag slice of bread, a little $155 is a little too much. You know what? I understand, and if you think it is too much, there are different styles of nails that you can do. But you guys, here's the thing. Nails themselves are a luxury. Okay, they are not a necessity. So paying, for a luxury service, this is what you're gonna get. Okay, so make sure that if you are, going out to have your nails done and your nail tech tells you that this is the price, and if that's not in your budget, maybe just have a conversation with them to find something that is more in your budget and within your lifestyle. And it's totally understandable, not a big deal. But all right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have questions, comments, definitely put those into the chat, put them into the comments. We do repost our videos here. I would love to hear what you guys think. So make sure to put those in the comments after we post the video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Somebody's asking, what nail practice hand is that? Everything that I have used, including the trainer hand, the table towels, all of the glitters, all of the products, everything that I've used today is Young Nails, and you can find it at youngnails.com. Let me flip around here one more time real quick. You guys, we do have a sale coming up starting on November 6th. So make sure that you check on our website. November 6th, 9 a.m. Pacific time for US and Canada only. Apologies for that. You guys, if you are international, make sure to check on our website, youngnails.com, and scroll all the way to the bottom. There is a little thing where you can click on to find a distributor local to you. So hopefully they will have some sales and some deals going on for you as well. If you guys want to get an extra 5% off of sales goodies, text us. You guys have to text us and join our text community, and hopefully our moderators can get the phone number in there for you. But I will tell you 714-274-7323 is our text number. 714-274-7323. Moderators got that in there for you. text us, and the day before the sale, we will send you a code for an additional 5% off of the sale. Does not include mystery boxes or other bundle deals like that, but other regular items it does. You guys, again, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we will see you guys back next time. Thanks, everybody.